Alright, starting a VOD review. First time doing it this way. Okay, career profile. Here plays Numbani. Okay, so for this part I'm going to first start with the macro play. And then from there we will look at what's happening. Alright, ooh. Speaker's high definition audio device. Shoot. Digital audio. Okay, there we go. Now you can hear the game. Spectate overlay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So real quick, I'm going to pause over here and explain their comp. If I can. So they have a bastion set up over here, but they don't have a barrier protecting it. So that's their first weakness, is if they ever set up a bastion comp and they don't have a barrier per se to protect the bastion, or even a torp turret, that's an opening for us to play. Their Reinhardt's playing over here with his barrier, and he's not protecting anything over here. So this entire area is pretty much, the Rhine is basically out of place and feeding. The Rhine would be more valuable way over here with his bastion protecting. That way their diva can use this pillar as a kind of like a shield and can dip down to contest the point and then dip it back up. And then Lucio possibly could be used as a secondary contest while Bastion lays into our barriers on point. Because of the way they're set up, we should not be coming out of this high ground, but rather we should be making our way down here, up the stairs, then rotate behind them and force Bastion out. The reason we want to do this is because once Bastion takes a low ground, there is no way for Bastion to come back up onto the high ground. It means it's basically Bastion gets forced out of place, and then he'd either have to play over here with his back into the attack spawn, or Bastion would basically set up in the over here area. And once again, from here, he kind of gets a pretty clear line of sight of the entire point, but he's much easier to chase down because he doesn't have the high ground advantage as he does over there. So just saying, that's how we want to approach this, but again, we approach this weird. And I'm just going over macro plays. I'm not going to go over micro plays of what like each individual player does right or wrong. I'm just going to point out stuff that we could do better, as well as like so on. Over here, Hinka does a good job of hacking the Reinhardt that's out of place, and we do not, and correctly so, we don't hard commit to this. So Reinhardt no longer has a barrier, he's hacked. Unfortunately, Bastion has perfect line of sight onto where we're fighting, and an Ana can eat a nade to add to us. If she does that, then we suddenly don't win this fight anymore. We should be able to spot this out. Hinka should also be able to tell us that they have a Bastion over here. And once we know that, we change our plan of attack. Rather than, again, like I said, rather than going from up top, we go from down below the moment we know they have this Bastion set up. Instead, we force our way through, I believe. It takes a bit, but we get done. I don't think anyone called a hack on Reinhardt. I didn't realize he was hacked. I thought he was just swinging at the corner, or else I would have been way more aggressive. We get pinned, I get a bubble on you, etc., and we fight the ways out. Pharah, meanwhile, is in the back, gets the Lucio and gets the Tracer, but we also lost to Sombra. And then this is incredibly unfortunate what happens to Mercy. Gets disconnected and falls to her again. Meanwhile, their Reinhardt backs up and drops down onto point. We do something weird here. Again, remember, Bastion, high ground. We should rotate around like this. Instead, we drop down and then we use this doorway. Ana is over here against the Bastion that's over here, so Bastion can shoot at her. Ana doesn't really want to fight the Bastion. She can sleep him, but that's not a, like, that's a band-aid solution. She can hide behind the pillar and kind of provide a heal between the slot, but honestly, not ideal. Again, we win this fight overall, but I mean, it could be won so much better. Just saying. We drop onto point. And here's where I feel like we lose. We should not have committed, I think. I'm like back up once they anti us, and we go in, we get the pin on him. Their tanks overcommit to this fight. Pharah kills their Bastion, and they no longer have like a frontline presence. So now there's 3 supports, and they should be backing up. Unfortunate that we lose our Pharah, or else we could chase. And here is where Ana is set up. I'm set up incredibly aggressively up front. Ana's set up incredibly safe in the back. Ana is doing the right thing over here in the back, like setting up like that. Okay, I make a mistake. I lose line of sight. So Ana can see up till here, but I'm playing over here. Ana should be calling for me to back up and play more in her line of sight. So if you see that I'm too far forward, just tell me to back up to receive healing or something, so that I know that I need to not play all the way over here, and so I can back up to play with heals. Also, honestly, with the way our team comp is set up, we don't really have a specific person designated as a point person. We can kind of have Ana on point, so Ana would be here for pushing the payload, but for now, yeah, Ryan is doing the right thing kind of by holding over here, while I'm basically feeding. But yeah, just like yell at me or yell at anyone in general who's out of place to receive healing as Ana. Tell them to back up and play in your line of sight. I throw the grab. Grab is kind of good, kind of bad. I get no value from the grab. It just stalls them off the point long enough for us to cap. And then they make a misplay here by committing to this fight. So we've already capped.
Stop the payload.
Thank you. But they're about to commit to this fight. Ryan goes in and pins our Reinhardt into the corner, and we have our respawns right here. Learn from them, and that once the payload is capped, we back up and hold by the bus that's way over here. We want to hold way back here, because if we're holding here, they can spawn from over here, and they can also spawn from over here. So we back up, and we play it safe around the corner. We can use this corner as natural cover to engage them over here if we want to be aggressive, or we can be more passive and hold over here by the bus in this back corner. They instead go full tilt. Reinhardt dies on our point. Their Echo is already dead, so they will be down 2 players. And then we have our fast spawn because I'm dead, but I'm fast spawning off of this cap. So we would be going into a 6v5. So just don't engage when people get the point. Just try and force that ults.
Objective lost.
I think we do a good job. We just hold ults. You get pinned in the back. Mercy comes to fly and heal you. Pharah is back doing damage. I'm back soon. We lose our Ana to a headshot by the Ash, who's doing a great job, by the way. Yada yada. We've already capped. This is less than ideal, but I mean, it's fine. We're in spawn. We can either die or we can reset at this point. Their Ryan is really far in our back line, and I'm just taking their attention off the front line. D.Va hunts down our Mercy successfully, might I add. That's a shame. But we're now punishing their tanks. We land the sleep on their D.Va, which is clutch. And then I overestimate how much damage her pin does. I thought the pin would be enough to kill the D.Va or D-Mech her, but unfortunately she gets out alive, which is unfortunate. So, yeah. And then we move on to the streets phase at the corner. I'm going to make another misplay, which is calling our ult combo. I think I called for us to use EMP and Barrage. EMP and Barrage is not a great combo. The only reason being that EMP disables their abilities, so they don't have any more of their kit, but Barrage is kind of a target focusing damage. So when Pharah barrages, she shoots into an area, it would have been smarter to combine EMP with Shatter, because then it locks them down for Pharah to just lay into them for normal damage. We already have 5 ults, except for my grab, which we used for capping. So, yeah, whoops. But yeah, that's part of why we struggle here, is just that we use a bad combination of ultimates. I'm also incredibly aggressive over here. I'm playing way in front. Great shield blocking and sleep on the bot, by the way. That helped us just like negate most of it the time on his ult. And then I'm up here feeding like an idiot. But yeah, we're playing very safe, using the corner as cover, pushing into them. Ashe is incredibly aggressive and out of place. One thing is our Sombra is in here with us. Sombra could have taken the back door to get behind him to set up for a hack on someone or anyone. They don't really have their main tank with them. He's still way away. But she should be setting up to look for like a hack or something on them. In theory, we already have EMP Shatter. We could have EMP'd this fight right now and shatter them and then hacked it right as he's coming in. And we would have gotten an easy fight win, honestly. But we just didn't set up for this. And that's kind of a misplay by us. We should have been looking ahead for this fight. Hindsight 2020. So away we go. We get the Echo on point. And I believe we push into them. Yeah, this is where we call the EMP Barrage rather than EMP Shatter. Shatter is a much better ult to combo EMP with because there's nothing they can stop EMP with. But yeah, as you can see, like the Barrage just does damage in an area, but it doesn't really lock down or get any kills. We get nano out of our 2 ults, and we don't really get much else done. We invest heavily into this fight, even though we really didn't need to. And the Reinhardt's still alive behind us. We need the target focus to call out Reinhardt. Another place where we can improve is just calling out targets. Once we see that Reinhardt is there, we kill him, and we start moving. Ana will probably back up, and then I'm on my own in this area, ready to die. Mercy flies to me, thank you. And yeah, we're looking at an Ashe who's just being heavily pocketed by a Mercy. Ana does the right thing, which is to push the payload. I do the dump thing, which is pushing forward. Over here, we have a natural choke point, which is this doorway that we want to use in theory, because Ana can get full line of sight of this entire area from the cart. So we could fight over here and hold this corner. Unfortunately, we're doing that before the payload reaches the corner, so we're all out of line of sight, and so we're kind of weak. And that's just a terrible play by us. We kind of overcommitted to a fight that we weren't ready to take. Again, we'll learn with time and recognize these openings.
Oh, you look tired.
Over here, we just get wiped because of they have ults and they're just investing their ults now, and we don't have anything to stop them. Does the Ryan shatter here? He does. I was going to put my barrier up, but I think I don't have it in time, and so I die, or Ryan dies, and that is a wipe, and we should be backing out now. Call for a full retreat. Mercy flies away, but dies from it. And they're going to keep pushing forward to get more picks. Ana dies. Henka should stay alive in the background. They don't know he's there. They just have the D.Va Cat playing the objective. Pharah should just run back into spawn. There's no reason to peek right now. Although, yes, wanting to build ult is great, we don't want to lose any more people to conserve our time. They haven't set up an Ashe on the high ground yet, but that's what's going to ruin us later on. For now, it's Echo and Ana on the high ground. We don't play a long-range hit scan, and we don't really play our comp to the best of our ability. We're playing this comp, but we're not really understanding the purpose of this comp. Not that I understand it either. I'm trying to figure it out as we play. It's a really strong comp, and it's been working great for us. But I think it's we should kind of try and delve deeper into it to understand it. So here's what happens here. And this is something I want to talk about because I noticed us doing this a lot. So for the next 4 minutes, keep that in mind. 4 minutes, we are going to run up, down, main. Ashe, Mercy, and Ana are on this high ground. Okay? So, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to switch to blue. Because Ana, Ashe, Mercy. Those three are going to play this entire high ground. This is now their home. Okay? They live up here. We have a Pharah Mercy to stop them and push them out. Pharah Mercy is great for damage if she lands her 2 shots. She can punish any one of them. Because Mercy is busy damage boosting the Ashe, this wraparound by the Pharah is great to spot out the Ana and then execute her. That's great. If we get the execution on Ana, we know most Mercies are going to go over to try and res the Ana. It's just Mercies always go for the first person they see to res. If we camp this body, we could punish the Mercy for going for that res and get both their supports out of the fight early on. I don't know how this fight plays out. I don't think we get the pick on the Ana. Meanwhile, in the back, Hinka should be setting up to hack their Reinhardt so that we can get free damage on both of their tanks. Because they have a Mercy and Ana on the high ground with the Ashe pocketing her, these 3 are kind of like a unit. These 2 are playing as a unit on the ground contesting us, and their Echo is kind of floating in between trying to poke damage and chip down people until she can laser them down with her beam. I don't know the name of the ability. We should be able to recognize that, hack out the Reinhardt so they become 2 600 HP targets for us to build ult off of and push them. That's at least the first fight. Second fight onwards, when we lose kind of the element of surprise of playing around the corner, we should take both of our tanks, push into this high ground, and out this door. And what we want to do is force Ashe, Ana, and Mercy off of this high ground onto the low ground. When we do that, they no longer have access to this entire high ground. They'd have to go in here. Ashe can coach gun back up, but there's no... Well, she's not going to really willingly use that, because if she does that, she loses her mobility away from the Pharah. If she loses her mobility from the Pharah, she can only use corner to hide, and Pharah can just like kill her with splash damage. Even if Pharah doesn't kill her with splash damage, as long as she doesn't peek the corner to take a fight with the Pharah, we have effectively taken out 2 of their players from the fight. Pharah, our Ashe and Mercy would be busy hiding in here, and our Pharah Mercy could be spamming down at them, but Pharah Mercy can also set up somewhere in the air to spam down at the road in order to damage down their tanks. I'm just saying, that's how we want to play next time if we are dealing against a high ground target with long range. Once we do that, we can leave our Ana also here on the high ground. She will be kind of contestable by like say their Diva or their Echo going for her, but at the same time, because we have Pharah and Mercy, they should be able to play as a unit together on this high ground to support each other, while Ana still has the high ground to easily see her tanks and heal them up. Essentially, playing as Ana, you want to stay somewhere within line of sight of your team, but out of line of sight of the enemy. Okay, so that's that. Play out these few fights and kind of see the pattern. We're going to commit Shatter, I think? No, we're not going to commit Shatter yet, I think. But yeah, Pharah sees the Ana. Ana drops down to the high ground, that's what we want. But then we fail to see the Ashe over here. So Ashe gets a pick on our Pharah. Hanka is just out of place to set up for a hack. No, he gets the hack on the Diva. But the hack is on the Diva. Ryan still has a barrier in front of us, so there's not really much we can do as damage to follow up on the Diva. We do know Diva has ult. That's a great thing to know, because we can see it coming. Unfortunately, rather than there, if he had set up over here to go for a hack on here, Echo could see him, fucking Diva can see him. If he sets over here and goes for the hack, he might be better off. But yeah, that happens, so there goes that fight. We don't win this, obviously. We never capture B. They invest heavily, they copy the Zarya, and I believe I grab them. Here, Ryan should start swinging at this point to try and build ult so that he can shatter the nano boost Reinhardt. They've invested both support ults. Mercy dies. She flies overhead. That was a mistake. She should just stay back in the corner, and we lose this fight. I'm just trying to build ult charge before I die. And Back out. There we go. Fight done and dusted. Next fight. Back in position. Ana's peeking first, and Ana gets picked off, I think. I know she doesn't. Okay, cool. Back in it. Ana gets healed up by Moira now. Henka's looking for a setup. We have no ults. We're close to a shatter, but that's it. We switch off the Pharah, which is okay, but I would like to see some form of long-range control. Maybe like a Hanzo or something rather than the Doomfist, so that we can once again contest the high ground and take it. Because high ground wins more fights. You just get free range and you have that instant cover by just pressing S. We lose our Ana early on, and that's a fight reset. We no longer want to take this fight, but we're looking here, and we're going to commit poorly to this fight. Instead of committing there, we should have just backed up and waited. They're looking at our Doomfist because he's on his own, and they're just going to hunt him down. I press W over here, and I feed, because I'm just trying to laser and force their Ashe down from the high ground. Unfortunately, one me, it's not enough pressure to take care of the three of them. That's a cool Doomfist tech to get up there, but they get healed up as they need. Mercy's still sticking to the Ashe, and Ashe it's all the value that she wants. That was a misplayed EMP, I feel like. It wasn't really like... We didn't really have anything to follow up the EMP, nor did we have anyone calling targets in the EMP. When you see... When the EMP goes off, we need someone to call targets, like first focus down this person, then this person. We also need to have that decisive like 6-on-1 kind of target focus. But yeah. So yeah, we get wiped there. We commit our only ult EMP to that fight. We now have a shatter, but we don't have EMP anymore to set it up. EMP was 100% wasted. And then Ana, yeah, this is the fight that Ana gets picked off again early. And so we're just waiting for a full reset. So we just wait and spawn. I call for the Hanzo pick over the Sombra because we wasted EMP. EMP Shatter should have been our winning combination, honestly. This is 100% my misplay. We commit too early. We should have waited for Ana. And now we're split up. This is 100%, again, bad playing from us. We should have waited. Just a bit of patience would have helped. I'm incredibly far forward, kind of scattering them out. We get a good arrow on the Echo, and she's forced to retreat. They're looking at our Doomfist in the room. Ana's finally with us, so now we can start committing to the fight a bit more. I'm getting messages. Okay. There we go. Echo's up top. She picks off her Ana once again. So at this point, we've lost Ana first in 3 fights in a row. 2.5, 3 fights. So we need to start realizing that Ana might need more sustain. Rather than like Doomfist, I would rather like our Blonde Flamingo had played Hanzo and Henka played Soldier at this point. Soldier would be able to drop health pack for Ana, and the Hanzo would have been a good high ground counter rather than the Doomfist. I was not feeling the Doomfist pick. They throw Bob away, literally. He's just in a corner in the back. Had Reinhardt moved a bit more towards the bus, we would be out of line of sight and we can play it from here. And then we could have, in theory, over here, rather than backing up and then... Sorry. Rather than backing up... I'll learn how to use this tool. Okay, so rather than backing up and then fighting again out of this corridor, we should have 100% called for a rotate to come from this angle. So one of the good things about this angle is because Ashe is usually set up here, she doesn't really have an easy line of sight down here per se. So if we fight down here underneath the cover that she has, it's not really easy for her to look down on it without actually like rotating over to the statue over here. And when she rotates to the statue over there, she's like an easy target for her Hanzo pick. So again, this is just us getting frustrated at not being able to beat one Ashe. We should have been able to realize opportunities like this, and we will get better at that as we play more and just get more experience at the game. But yeah, we could have 100% called for a rotate over there. Again, we could also contest the high ground. We have a Hanzo now to just hold the high ground with our Ana and our Mercy Doomfist could also stage from the high ground to slam onto the low ground, etc. But yeah, we just keep running down main because that's all we could think of in the moment, and we need to start getting a bit more creative about our setups. And yeah, we all know how the rest of the game goes. But yeah, I'll keep playing it. See if there's anything else I spot. I'm back in spawn with Doomfist. We have 4 up here that are being healed up. We're running Lucio now also, my bad. Setting up the high ground would be kind of interesting. I don't think it would work as much with these healers. Just because Hanzo doesn't really get any value from anyone on the high ground. Lucio goes to boop Ashe off the high ground. Ashe doesn't care because she has Coach Gun and she doesn't have to worry about being dove on. Doomfist doesn't really have a good way to stage. I throw the grab too far forward. I was trying to aim catch the Reinhardt that was nano boosted. That's my bad. Hanzo gets picked up by the Echo in the backline, and Echo just does work on her backline. She just does chip damage, copies me, and then just tries to set up for a grab very quickly. And we're just getting farmed. We're too far apart and scattered. At this point, we kind of lost morale this game, and we basically just lose this. This is what happens when we don't have a plan, and we don't think smart, and we don't settle. And yeah. Rip Arena. Doomfist uses ult offensively and kind of sets up. I see the Ryan is 1, but I can't get a finishing blow. I get greedy and I get punished for it. Granted, there's 30 seconds. There's not... Well, we could have won the last fight. I don't think Lucio called for a reset here, so I'm not paying too much attention. But speed boosting out might have... Well, probably not because Mercy had damage boosting on the Echo. So yeah. We back up, we reset, and we lose this because we don't recontest right. That's what happened. Shoot. Okay. So over here, once again, because I'm dead, I'm just waiting to respawn, and we don't have enough time to recontest. Lucio is a good target pick to go and touch the point because he has the mobility to go in, touch, and then get out. There's an Ashe and they're fighting the Lucio. He should be vocal about it so that our Reinhardt knows to go in there and start swinging at her.
Do something.
She throws Bob at Reinhardt and Moira. They should just run into the room. Bob's not going to chase them. And Lucio gets denied from the point, I think.
Nerf this.
In some way. Oh yeah, no, he backs up because of the thing. And that's game. Unfortunately. Victory. But yeah, hopefully that's a learning experience and everyone kind of figures out a thing or two from that. If anyone wants me to go into like their microplay, I can 100% do that. Just let me know if you guys want something like that. Like where I break down your microplay, I can maybe do that like a one-on-one coaching session. Alright, cool.